And welcome back. Today's Tech Tuesday is a simple one, but really powerful. I do this to all my brushes. And what that is when you get a brush, it usually comes with a really neat chrome trigger. What I do is I put a piece of sandpaper on the top of the trigger. And what that allows me to do is it gives me a lot more, almost like traction on the trigger. So it gives me a lot of control over that. The trigger really can't slip out of my hand, forward, can't slip out of my finger. So it's really simple to do, and it gives you a ton of control. So I'll show you really simply how I get that done. And yeah, it's pretty easy. So I have this Eclipse CS that has a standard trigger on it. And so what I do first is I have a circle template. So what you'll need, you don't really need a circle template. You can just wing it, but circle templates help. Pair of old scissors, and then sandpaper. So for the sandpaper, I generally use around 100 to 200, anywhere in there. And the better paper, the better quality paper is what you're looking for. If you get real cheap sandpaper, all the material just kind of falls off while you're working, because you're making contact with this constantly. So you want a pretty decent piece of sandpaper. Wet dry sandpaper is the best. Because as you're airbrushing and cleaning out your brush, liquid gets on the trigger. The wet and dry sandpaper won't fall apart. So that's a good tip. I mean, this is so fast and so easy to do. If all you have is regular old cheapo, sandpaper, if it falls apart, you just put a new one on. It's not a big deal. All right. So circle template helps. The other thing is some sort of adhesive dot. And I'll put a link to these. These are ones I've always used, but there are millions of them in the scrapbooking section of most art supply stores. These are made by Zots. And essentially what it is just let me get to one. There we go. On the other side. So they're just adhesive rubber dots. And it makes life really, really easy to do what we're about to do. All right. So you grabs your airbrush, and this is where the circle template really comes out handy, because you can kind of line up the correct size. This one's 13-30 seconds for this one. And then flip over your sandpaper. And see, I've done this before. Get you guys a little closer. See what we're doing here. There we go. What did I say? 13-30 seconds, right? Not, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it helps, this one here. And then just on the back side, just draw the circle. Like that. And then again, this is where the crappy scissors comes in handy, because if you use a brand new pair of scissors and you're cutting sandpaper, you'll end up ruining your scissors. So I just have an old junky pair just for this. Okay, cut that out. You see what I mean? I mean, you could just kind of wing this. Just cut out a regular circle. You don't necessarily need the templates, but if you have a circle template, it makes things easier. And I use that circle template in airbrushing anyway, so I got it sitting around. All right, so there's my little dot right there of sandpaper. You grab your, back you guys out a bit. You don't need to be that close. Grab an adhesive dot, so there's one right there. You just take your regular dot, and most of these adhesive dots are about the size of an airbrush trigger anyway, so it works out really, really well. And it saves you for having to, come up with some other kind of more permanent adhesive. This stuff is not permanent. So if you're cleaning your airbrush and you want to remove this, you just peel it off. It just comes right off. There's no, permanent adhesive and ruin your trigger. And then you just carefully peel off the dot with the adhesive now on the back. Grab your trigger. See, this has a little indent in it. It doesn't matter. What happens is the more you use this, as you're using it, that the sandpaper will kind of indent with it, and that's it. So now you have this kind of non-slip trigger pad on your airbrush. And like I said, especially for detail, it really makes a difference, because I don't have to concentrate so much on the trigger slipping out of my finger at the wrong time. It really holds up well. So there is your really simple, easy mod that you can do to any airbrush, and it really does make a difference. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe and share it if you can. And if you have any ideas for Tech Tuesdays, please let me know, and I'd be happy to add them in. So there you go. So I'm Steve Leahy. This is Tech Tuesday, and I will catch you guys next time.